Hey math lovers, Miss Amber here again. Today we're going to be talking about long division. So it's a pretty lengthy process that a lot of people don't really like, but it can be relatively simple. It's just a pattern like anything else in math. But first we need to know a few terms before we actually get into the division. There's divisor, dividend, and quotient. When you have a division problem, the number that you're dividing by is your divisor. So sometimes you will see a problem written as a fraction. For instance, if there is 11 over 3, that can be read as 11 divided by 3, where 3 is the divisor because that's what we are dividing by. That problem could also be written horizontally, 11 divided by 3, straight across. Same thing. Now the second number, 3, is the divisor because that's what we're dividing by. Then the number that you're dividing into, the first number, 11 in this instance, would be the dividend. When you set up your division problem with the little house, the divisor will always go on the outside of the house, and the dividend will always go on the inside. Once you do your work, your answer goes across the top, and we call that the quotient. So the answer to the division problem is a quotient. We have our divisor, what we're dividing by, our dividend, what we're dividing into, and then our quotient, the answer that we get. Now let's look at an example. So now we're going to talk about 567 divided by 9. When we set that up, we're dividing by 9, that will be on the outside of the house, and 567 will be on the inside of the house. We start by dividing with the 9 as far as we can possibly go. Since 9 doesn't fit into 5, we have to look at the next digit, 5 and 6. So now we're dividing 9 into 56. We think, how many times does 9 fit into 56 without going beyond 56? We know that 9 times 6 is 54, and 9 times 7 is 63. So 9 times 7 is too big. We stop at 9 times 6. Since it fits 6 times, 6 is going to go above the 6 in 56, where our quotient will go. So you always want to write your answer right above the last digit of what you're dividing into. Since we divided into 56, the 6 will go above the 6. Our next step is to take whatever you just wrote in the quotient and now multiply it by the divisor. We take 6 times 9, as we already said, that's 54, and now we're going to subtract that from whatever part of the dividend we just divided into. Since we've divided into the 56, we're going to subtract 56 minus 54. That leaves us with 2. But notice, there's still a digit left. There's that 7. What do we do with that? We bring it down right next to the difference we just found. The difference is 2. Remember, a difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. Since we subtracted 56 minus 54, we got a difference of 2. We bring down the next digit in our dividend right by that difference, giving us the number 27. And now we repeat the process all over again. Now we're dividing 9 into 27. That fits 3 times perfectly. Notice the 3 is going to go now right above the 7, right next to the 6, where the quotient gets written. Now the number that we've just written in the quotient, which is a 3, gets multiplied by 9. Like we said, that's 27. We subtract that from the part of the dividend we were just dividing into. 27 minus 27 is 0. Notice there's no remainder, so our division problem is done. But what if there is a remainder? Let's look at an example with a remainder. So let's take 567 divided by 8. We'll start with the same process. Since 8 doesn't fit into 5, we'll divide 8 into 56. Because 8 times 7 is 56, 8 fits into 56 exactly 7 times. We'll write that 7 above the 6, where the quotient goes. Now we multiply 7 times 8, giving us 56. Subtracting that from the part of the dividend that we were just dividing into, well, 56 minus 56 gives us 0. So while there's no remainder there, there's still another digit to be brought down, so we still have to continue our division process. We bring that 7 down next to the 0, giving us the problem 8 into 7. But 8 is bigger than 7 and it doesn't fit. So what do? Right, we put a 0. So if something doesn't fit, you don't skip it, you don't ignore it, you don't bring down the next digit, you put a 0 in the place of the quotient to say that that doesn't fit. So now, when we multiply, we get 0 times 8, which is 0. We subtract that, 7 minus 0, we still have 7. There's 3 options at this point. You can write that 7 simply as a remainder, and your answer will be 70, remainder 7. You could write that remainder as a fraction, where the remainder becomes the numerator, the denominator will be your divisor, and the quotient that you got will be the whole number. So that mixed number would look like 70 and 7/8. The last option is you can add a decimal to the end of the dividend. So we can put a decimal after 567, add some digits after that, which would be zeros, and continue our division process. I hope that helps you divide some division problems. Leave your questions in the comments and let us know what other topics you'd like to see. See you next time.